Hello listeners, welcome back to another episode here on Nature and Science for Kids. This one will be brief because our topic is very quick. Let's get started right now. We're going to count down from number 5 to number 1, some animals which live for a very, very, very short amount of time. Let's start at number 5.
Lambert's chameleon.
These chameleons live 4 to 5 months. Not years, not decades, just months. It spends most of its life as an egg. They live in the forests of Madagascar. No surprise there. A lot of things seem to live in Madagascar. They live for about 8 months in eggs in the sand, incubating, but then usually around November when rains come, they finally hatch. Since they're alive for about 4 or 5 months, they are the shortest lived and fastest growing four-legged animals on Earth. And that takes us to number 4.
Pygmy goby.
These guys live for 59 days. That's about 2 months. This fish is small. They are only about a half an inch to maybe 3/4 of an inch long, 1 to 2 centimeters, and they're very well camouflaged. Despite its small size, it has a record. The shortest lived vertebrate. That is an animal with a backbone. And 59 days, by the way, is usually the longest it lives. So they might live less than that, especially if they are eaten by another fish. One reason scientists think that these fish live such short lives is because they're so small, and if they're going to have any chance of eating, growing, and raising families, they've got to do it very quickly. They take that to the extreme and try to fill in all of life in 2 months. And now we go to number 3.
Monarch butterfly.
This animal is no stranger to most of us. However, even though we see them often, each individual butterfly has a range of living from 2 weeks to maybe 8 months. Most of these butterflies are a part of a journey that they don't ever get to finish because they don't live long enough to see one whole cycle. What I mean is, it's like they're running a race, and by the time they get all the way around the track of this race, it takes so long that they would not have been able to survive. It takes multiple generations of butterflies to complete the race. And the race is flying south to Mexico and then back up to North America. They do this annually, which means each year. Since most of these butterflies only live 2 to 6 weeks, that means it takes 2 or 3 generations to complete a migration. But the last generation of butterflies is a little different. They're hibernating. They wake up from their hibernation in February or March, and then they take to the air, find a mate, and then begin to fly between 1,200 and 2,800 miles. So roughly 1,000 to 3,000 miles, or approximately 2,000 to 4,500 kilometers. That's a long journey, and they're flying north in search of a plant, milkweed. There's more to the life of these butterflies, but we're going to leave it there. And we're going to go to animal number 2.
Honeybee.
Honeybees live 5 to 7 weeks. No wonder they're so busy. They don't have very long to get done what they need to get done. It is worker bees who keep the hive running. From the day they are born, they have about 5 to 7 weeks to help keep the hive running. As the worker bee develops through different stages, the worker bee will do different things and have different tasks. The one we're most familiar with is going and pollinating flowers and then going and making honey, which we enjoy, at least I do. However, they do more than that. They're really self-sacrificing animals, and they put the whole herd of bees before themselves as individuals. And I know bees are not herds, but it just seemed appropriate. They work for the good of the whole community of bees, not just themselves. There's a lot to learn from honeybees. But that brings us to finally, number 1, shortest living animal.
Adult mayfly.
Now, this is a little tricky. Adult mayflies, emphasis on adult, live between 5 minutes to 24 hours. Some live 5 minutes, while other types live to be about 24 hours old or 1 day. So no matter the range, when they're adults, they have at the most a single day. They have to be very active in that short amount of time. This is a little tricky because for 2 years, they are underwater. They are underwater as nymphs. That means they're like little babies. Wah, wah, wah. They're in the creeks and in the streams and all of that. They're in the bottom. And that bottom region is called the benthic zone. Benthic, bottom. It works for lakes, ponds, rivers, streams, creeks, and oceans too. And they're feeding on algae and other things. But after 2 years, they float to the surface and they kind of crack open out of their shells and they begin to fly, and they have a very short amount of time to find a mate and continue the family line because they want to pass on their family name. Well, I don't think they care about their names, but no tacos, no fast food restaurants, no movie theaters, no shopping. They have one goal, and that's to make sure that there are more mayflies for the future. So listeners, if this episode was about the shortest living animals, what do you think next episode will be about? And if you have an idea, what do you think would be the longest living animal, since that is the next episode? Longest living animals. I look forward to next episode. However, before we end the show, I need to share something. We have a birthday to celebrate. Woohoo! I'm really enjoying these birthdays. Do you know whose birthday it is? Jeremiah is having a birthday today. Jeremiah, I hope your birthday is spectacular. I'm glad that you have lived longer than the creatures we've talked about in this episode. May you live not only longer and have another year, but may it be a blessing to you, and may you be a blessing to those around you. That's one of the keys to happiness, is doing good things for other people. Jeremiah, I'm glad you're a part of our podcast team. I'm Moose Jaw Matt. Until next time, keep exploring your world.